My mother looked at the invoice in her trembling hands, and her face went from red to purple. $7,200 for what? She screamed, slamming the paper down on her pristine marble countertop so hard that her coffee mug jumped. I just sipped my coffee and said, "Oh, that's the bill for stealing my daughter's birthday. The interest rate on broken promises is quite high, wouldn't you say, Mom?" "Brooke Elizabeth Pemberton, what did you do?" She was using my full name now, the way she did when I was 12 and got caught sneaking cookies before dinner. Except I wasn't 12 anymore. I was 34, a single mother who'd just taught her family the most expensive lesson of their lives. "I didn't do anything, Mom. You did. Remember? You're the one who called the Butterfly Garden Pavilion and demanded they transfer my daughter's birthday reservation to Tamara's gender reveal. You're the one who said, and I quote, 'Maisie's just a child, she won't even remember.' Well, guess what? The venue remembers, their billing department especially." My father Ronald walked in from his study, probably drawn by the screaming. "What's all this racket, Judith?" "Your daughter sabotaged Tamara's gender reveal." My mother waved the invoice like it was evidence in a murder trial. $7,000, $7,000. Actually, $7,200, I corrected, taking another calm sip of my coffee. The extra $200 was for the butterfly expert. I heard he was fascinating. Something about monarch migration patterns. Let me back up and tell you exactly how we got here. See, I'm Brooke, and if you looked at my family from the outside, you'd think I was the failure. Divorced, living in a 2-bedroom apartment, driving a 10-year-old Honda, while my cousin Tamara rolled up to family dinners in her husband's Tesla. My mother Judith never let me forget it either. Every family gathering came with helpful observations like, "Brooke, honey, maybe if you hadn't been so stubborn about Derek's career moves," or "Tamara just has such a glow about her, doesn't she? Marriage suits some people better than others." My daughter Maisie is 8 now. Well, she turned 8 6 weeks ago, but we'll get to that. She's this brilliant, funny little person who collects dinosaur facts and insists on wearing tutus to the grocery store. She calls my mother Grandma Judith, always both names together, like it's a royal title. My father Ronald is just Grandpa Ron, and he spoils her with books but never stands up for her when it matters. Then there's my cousin Tamara, 26, married to Brandon, who works in pharmaceutical sales, pregnant with their first baby. She's been the family princess since the day she was born. Her mother, my Aunt Diane, is Judith's younger sister, and somehow even more insufferable. They treat Tamara like she's made of spun gold while treating my life choices like a cautionary tale they tell at dinner parties. The thing about being the family. Disappointment is that people stop expecting you to fight back. They get comfortable taking things from you because you've always been the one who bends, who accommodates, who says it's fine, when it's definitely not fine. They assume you'll keep doing it forever. They assumed wrong. You want to know what I did? I set down my coffee cup with a deliberate clink. I gave Tamara exactly what she wanted. A luxury event at the Butterfly Garden Pavilion, the champagne fountain she specifically requested, the photographer she insisted on having, the exotic butterfly collection she squealed about when she saw it in the premium package catalog. She didn't order those things. Judith's voice hit a pitch that probably scared birds off the backyard feeder. No, that's funny because the venue has security footage of her requesting upgrades throughout the event. Apparently, she told the staff that since it was such a special occasion, only the best would do. Her words, not mine. You set her up. I didn't attend the gender reveal, remember. You specifically told me it would be awkward if I was there since I'd been so difficult about the venue change. How could I set up anything from my apartment, where I spent that afternoon explaining to my 8-year-old why 20 of her friends were calling to ask why her party was canceled? My father finally looked at the invoice properly. His face went pale when he saw the itemized list. Judith, did you authorize Persian champagne service? Of course not. Because it says here that the person who called to transfer the reservation verbally approved maintaining all selected services for the event date. I pulled out my phone and showed them my email. Here's the confirmation I got as the original contract holder. Dear Ms. Pemberton, per the phone request from Mrs. Judith Pemberton, your event reservation has been transferred to accommodate a different celebrant while maintaining all selected premium services. All selected premium services. Those services just happened to be selected between the transfer call and the actual event. You little snake, my mother hissed. No, Mom. I'm a mother who had to watch her daughter pretend it didn't hurt when her fairy princess birthday party got yanked away for someone else's Instagram perfect gender reveal. Do you know what Maisie said when I told her the party was canceled? She said, "That's okay, Mommy. Baby cousins are more important than birthdays." She's 8. She shouldn't have to think that way. The best part? This was all completely legal. The contract was still in my name. The venue had every right to charge for services used, and Tamara, sweet entitled Tamara, had enjoyed every single one of those premium upgrades while posting photos with captions like, "So blessed to have a family that goes all out for special moments." Well, she was right about one thing. They definitely went all out. $7,200 out. To be exact. I'd been planning Maisie's 8th birthday for 3 months. Every single penny mattered when you're a single mom working as a dental hygienist. People think healthcare workers make good money, but they don't see the student loans, the rent for even a modest apartment in a decent school district, or the way grocery prices seem to climb every week. After my divorce from Derek 2 years ago, I became an expert at stretching dollars. 20 here from skipping my Tuesday coffee run, 30 there from packing lunches instead of buying them, 10 from choosing generic cereal even though Maisie noticed the difference. This year was going to be special. I'd finally saved enough to rent the Butterfly Garden Pavilion at our local botanical gardens. It wasn't just any venue to Maisie. Last spring, we'd gone there for a free community day, and she'd pressed her little nose against the glass windows of the pavilion, watching another child's birthday party in progress. "Mommy, this is where fairy princesses have parties," she'd whispered with such reverence in her voice that my heart cracked a little. "Do you think maybe someday I could have a birthday here?" "Maybe someday, baby," I'd said then, already calculating what I'd need to save. The deposit alone was $400, non-refundable. The total would be $1,200, but I'd managed it. Every skipped lunch, every overtime shift, every weekend I'd picked up extra cleaning work at the dental office, it all led to this moment when I could tell Maisie her dream was coming true. Really? Really, truly? She'd actually jumped up and down in our tiny kitchen, her dinosaur socks sliding on the linoleum. "Can I wear my purple dress? The one with the sparkles? And can we invite Rosie and Emma and Jackson? Jackson says girls' parties are boring, but I told him mine would have real butterflies." "You can invite whoever you want, sweetheart. 20 friends, just like we talked about." She'd thrown her arms around my waist. "Grandma Judith's going to be so surprised. She always says our apartment is too small for a real party." That stung because it was absolutely true. Judith never missed an opportunity to remind me how I'd downgraded after the divorce. Every family dinner came with commentary. "Brooke, honey," she'd say while passing the potatoes in her dining room that could fit my entire apartment, "maybe if you'd tried harder with Derek, Maisie would have a proper backyard for her birthday. Children need space to run around." Or my personal favorite, "It's just such a shame. When you were Maisie's age, we threw you that carnival party with the pony rides. Remember? Of course, your father's business was doing well then, and we had that big house on Maple Street. Different times, I suppose." The implication was clear. I'd failed where she'd succeeded. I couldn't give my daughter what she'd given me. But this year would be different. The Butterfly Garden Pavilion was better than any backyard. 20 of Maisie's friends would be there. We'd have the butterfly release ceremony where each child would get to release a painted lady butterfly while making a wish. The pavilion would provide child-friendly refreshments, and I'd ordered a special cake from Bellissima Bakery, the fancy place downtown that usually did wedding cakes. It was shaped like a butterfly with edible glitter wings that changed color in the light. Cost me an extra $150, but Maisie had seen it in their window and gasped like she was looking at magic itself. I'd even bought myself a new dress for the occasion. Nothing expensive, just something from Target clearance. But it was soft blue and didn't have any stains from Maisie's toddler years. I wanted to look like the kind of mother who could give her daughter a beautiful party, who had everything together, who didn't have to check her bank balance before buying milk. 2 weeks before the party, everything was perfect. The invitations had gone out, handmade by Maisie and me with cardstock from the dollar store and glitter she'd been saving in a jar. Each one said, "You're invited to a fairy princess garden party," with the date March 18th, 2 p.m. at the Butterfly Garden Pavilion. The RSVPs had come flooding back. Every single child said yes. Even Jackson, who'd apparently told his mother that Maisie's party was going to be the coolest thing ever because of real butterflies and no clowns. That Sunday, we went to my parents' house for dinner, just like every week. It was a command performance, not an invitation. Judith liked to have what she called family togetherness time, which usually meant time for her to offer unsolicited advice about my life while my father read his iPad at the table and occasionally grunted in agreement. I couldn't help myself. I pulled out my phone to show them the invitation design. Maisie designed these herself. The party's Saturday the 18th at 2 p.m. That's when everything started to fall apart. "Oh my God, Aunt Judith!" Tamara's voice rang through the dining room like a bell. She'd just walked in, late as always, her hand resting on her perfectly round baby bump, wrapped in a designer maternity dress that probably cost more than my monthly grocery budget. "I just had the best idea. We should do the gender reveal at the butterfly garden. Can you imagine? Blue or pink butterflies flying everywhere. It would be absolutely perfect for Instagram." My mother's eyes lit up like someone had just handed her a winning lottery ticket. "Tamara, darling, that's brilliant. When were you thinking? We need to make sure Brandon's family can come, and of course the Weatherbys, and oh, the Carltons would love something like that." "Well, Brandon's parents are leaving for Europe on the 20th, and his sister can only come on the 18th because of her work schedule," Tamara said, already scrolling through her phone calendar. "The 18th would be absolutely perfect. Afternoon would be ideal for the lighting." My heart stopped. The words came out before I could stop them. "That's Maisie's party date." The room went quiet for exactly 2 seconds before Judith waved her hand dismissively, the same way she'd wave away a fly at a picnic. "Oh, Brooke, you can move it. Maisie's just a child. She won't even remember this by next month. But Tamara's first baby? This is a once-in-a-lifetime moment. You can't expect us to prioritize a child's party over a gender reveal." "Mom, I already paid the deposit. $400. Non-refundable. I sent out 20 invitations. Every single kid has already RSVP'd yes. Maisie's been practicing her butterfly release speech for weeks." "Don't be selfish," Judith cut me off, her voice taking on that tone she used when she was about to steamroll someone. "Family comes first. Tamara needs this venue more than you do. A gender reveal requires a certain level of sophistication. You can just have Maisie's party at Chuck E. Cheese or that pizza place with the arcade. Children actually prefer those places anyway." "She doesn't want Chuck E. Cheese, Mom. She wants her fairy princess party at the butterfly garden. I've been saving for months." Diane chimed in then, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. "Brooke, sweetie, I understand you're disappointed, but you have to think about what's really important here. Birthday parties happen every year. Tamara will only reveal her first baby's gender once. Surely you can see the difference in significance." Ronald looked up from his newspaper, finally deciding to weigh in. "Your mother's right, Brooke. Be reasonable. Tamara's event will have important people attending, business connections, the kind of people who expect a certain caliber of venue. Maisie's little friends won't care where her party is. They're 8-year-olds, not toddlers, Dad. They definitely care. And since when is my daughter less important than business connections?" Tamara put on her practiced pout, the one that had been getting her whatever she wanted since she was 5. "Brooke, I'm not trying to ruin Maisie's birthday. It's just that this venue would be so perfect for the reveal. We're doing a butterfly theme for the nursery, too. It's like fate. And besides, you know how stressful pregnancy has been for me. The doctor says I need to avoid any unnecessary anxiety." "Then plan your own party at a different venue," I said, my voice getting harder. "There are dozens of beautiful places in the city." "But none of them have the butterfly release option," Tamara whined. "And I already told Brandon's mother about it. She's so excited. You know how particular she is about everything. If we have to change venues now, she'll think I can't plan anything properly." Judith pulled out her phone with the determination of a general preparing for battle. "This is ridiculous. I'll call the venue right now. Since you already have it reserved, you can just transfer it to Tamara's name. Simple solution." "Mom, please don't do this." "Hello? Yes, this is Judith Pemberton. My daughter Brooke has a reservation on the 18th that we need to transfer to another family member." I sat there, frozen, listening to my mother rearrange my daughter's birthday like she was moving appointments in a calendar. Yes, same date, same time. The name will be Tamara Lawson. She'll be using it for a gender reveal instead. Oh, the decorations can remain butterfly themed. That's perfect. Yes, we'll handle the deposit transfer internally. Within 5 minutes, it was done. My venue, my deposit, my daughter's dream, all handed over like they meant nothing, like I meant nothing, like Maisie meant nothing. Tamara actually had the audacity to hug me. You're the best cousin ever. I promise I'll make sure Maisie gets an extra special gift from the baby. Maybe we can even have her help with the reveal somehow. Wouldn't that be cute? I sat there in my parents' dining room, surrounded by family who'd just shown me exactly where my daughter and I ranked in their hierarchy, and I said nothing. What could I say that would matter? They'd already decided. They always decided, and I always accepted it. But this time was different. This time, they'd crossed a line they didn't even know existed. That night, I had to tell Maisie her fairy princess party was canceled. She was in her room, carefully writing each guest's name on little paper butterflies she'd made as party favors. Look, Mommy, I made Jackson's butterfly green because he doesn't like purple, and Emma's has extra glitter because she loves sparkly things. I sat on her bed, the words stuck in my throat like broken glass. Baby, I need to talk to you about the party. She looked up at me with those bright hazel eyes, Derek's eyes, and somehow she already knew. Kids always know. It's not happening, is it? Cousin Tamara needs the butterfly garden for her baby's party. Grandma Judith thinks it's really important. She didn't cry. She just nodded and carefully set down her purple marker. It's okay, Mommy. Maybe when I'm 9. Then she gathered up all those paper butterflies she'd spent hours making and quietly put them in her desk drawer. Should I tell my friends tomorrow? That broke me more than tears ever could. My 8-year-old was being more mature about this than the adults who'd taken her party. I held her tight and whispered, "Let me handle telling your friends, sweetheart." For 2 days, I stewed. I made 20 phone calls to parents explaining that we had to postpone due to a family situation. I listened to disappointed kids in the background asking why. I returned the butterfly cake to Bellissima Bakery and only got half my deposit back. I went through the motions at work, cleaning teeth and making small talk while inside I was boiling. Then Thursday came, and with it, clarity. I called my friend Nora during my lunch break. She worked as an event coordinator for high-end corporate parties, and she'd been in the business for 15 years. Remember how you said you owed me for covering your shifts last year when your mom was sick? I said. Of course. What do you need? I explained everything. The whole story poured out, from Judith's dismissal to Tamara's fake hug to Maisie quietly putting away her paper butterflies. Those absolute witches! Nora's voice was sharp with anger. Oh, they have no idea who they just messed with. Brooke, are you thinking what I'm thinking? I don't know. What are you thinking? I'm thinking that since the reservation is still technically in your name, you have certain rights. Let me make some calls. 2 hours later, Nora called back. Okay, I spoke to Felipe, the events manager at the Butterfly Garden. He remembers your mother from last year when she tried to strong-arm him into giving her a discount for some charity luncheon. She threatened to leave bad reviews when he wouldn't budge. He's not a fan. What did he say about my situation? He pulled up your contract. Brooke, this is beautiful. The reservation is still under your name. Your mother never actually changed the contract holder, just the event type and who would be attending. As far as the venue is concerned, you're still the client of record. So, what does that mean? It means you can make changes to the service package. Any changes, all the upgrades, add-ons, premium services, they can all be added to your reservation. And since someone will be using those services at the actual event, they'll be billable. My heart started racing. But I can't afford to pay for revenge. That's the best part. You won't have to. The bill goes to whoever uses the services. But as the contract holder, you'll get a copy of everything. Every invoice, every charge, every single cent they rack up. Friday afternoon, I met Felipe at his office. He was a distinguished man in his 50s with silver hair and a mischievous glint in his eyes when I explained what I wanted. So let me understand correctly, he said, pulling up my contract on his computer. You want to add our premium services package to your existing reservation? Everything, I said. Every single upgrade you offer. He started listing options, his fingers flying across the keyboard. The champagne fountain is $800. The professional photography package with edited digital delivery is $1,500. The luxury tent upgrade with climate control is $2,000. The exotic butterfly collection with rare species is $1,800. Add it all. The harpist? Absolutely. The specialty appetizer package with caviar service? Perfect. The dedicated butterfly expert to give educational presentations? Essential, wouldn't you say? Felipe smiled wider with each addition. This will total close to $7,000, Mrs. Pemberton. Let's call it an even $7,200 with service charges and taxes, I said. And Felipe? Make sure the invoice is very detailed, every line item spelled out. Send it to whoever's listed as the event host. That would be Tamara Lawson, but make sure it CCs me as the original contract holder. How long after the event do you usually send invoices? Typically immediately, but we can delay it. 2 weeks would be reasonable for processing. 2 weeks sounds perfect. Just enough time for them to post all their photos and brag about their amazing party. Felipe looked at me with something between admiration and sympathy. Your daughter's birthday party meant a lot to you. It meant everything to her. She's been through enough with the divorce. This was supposed to be her magical day. You know what? If they call to complain or ask about the charges, I'll be happy to explain that all services were authorized under the original contract holder's name, and that security footage from the day of the event clearly shows them enjoying every single premium service. I stood up, shaking his hand. Thank you, Felipe. Don't thank me yet. Thank me when they get the bill. The gender reveal was spectacular, from what I heard and saw plastered across social media. Tamara posted 137 photos on Instagram, each one more elaborate than the last. I know the exact number because I counted while sitting in my apartment with Maisie, who was having a quiet sleepover with her best friend Rosie instead of her butterfly party. Look at this one, my coworker Bethany showed me on Monday, shoving her phone in my face. Your cousin's party looks like something out of a magazine. That champagne fountain with the butterflies etched in ice? Incredible. The photos showed everything. Tamara in a flowing white dress that probably cost more than my rent, releasing a cloud of rare blue morpho butterflies while Brandon popped a confetti cannon that rained down blue sparkles. The professional photographer had captured every angle, every guest's delighted face, every detail of the luxury tent with its crystal chandeliers and climate-controlled interior. The harpist in the background of one shot, her fingers gracefully plucking strings while guests sipped champagne. The butterfly expert in his safari vest holding up exotic specimens while children and adults alike gasped in wonder. Your mother really went all out, Bethany continued, not noticing my tight smile. This must have cost an absolute fortune. Yes, I replied quietly. It certainly did. Tamara's captions were works of art in their own right. So blessed to have a family that knows how to celebrate life's precious moments. And when your family surprises you by upgrading everything to premium because they love you this much. And my personal favorite, some people just know how to throw a party. Thank you to the best aunt in the world for making this perfect. 2 weeks later, exactly 14 days after the reveal, I was having coffee at my parents' house. I'd been invited for a family meeting about planning Tamara's baby shower. I arrived early, knowing the mail usually came around 10:30 on Saturdays. We're thinking August for the shower, Judith was saying, flipping through her planner. The country club has availability, and of course we'll need to reserve their grand ballroom because Tamara's list is already at 200 people. Of course, I murmured, watching the clock. At exactly 10:28, I heard the mail truck outside. My father went to get it, as he always did, bringing back the stack without looking through it. Judith sorted mail while talking, a habit she'd had my entire life. Bills, junk, another credit card offer. Oh, what's this thick envelope from the butterfly garden? She opened it casually, probably expecting a thank you note or a promotional flyer for future events. Then she pulled out the invoice. The silence lasted exactly 3 seconds before the explosion. $7,200! Her shriek was so loud that my father dropped his coffee mug. It shattered on the tile floor, but no one moved to clean it up. Ronald grabbed the invoice from her shaking hands, his face going from confusion to shock to rage as he read down the itemized list. Champagne fountain service, $800. Professional photography package, $1,500. Exotic butterfly collection, $1,800. Luxury climate-controlled tent, $2,000. Harpist, $600. Caviar service. I leaned over, pretending to look for the first time. Oh wow, look at all these services. Mom, I had no idea you ordered all this for Tamara. Though I guess when you said her gender reveal was a once-in-a-lifetime event, you really meant it. I didn't order this. Judith's face had turned a shade of purple I'd never seen before. We just wanted the basic package. This is fraud. This is theft. I'm calling them right now. She fumbled with her phone, her fingers shaking as she jabbed at the numbers. I sipped my coffee and waited. Hello? Yes, this is Judith Pemberton. I'm calling about an invoice we just received. $7,000 for services we did not authorize. I could hear Felipe's calm voice through the speaker, professional and steady. Mrs. Pemberton, let me pull up your event details. I see here the event was on March 18th, originally booked by Brooke Pemberton? Yes, but we changed it to my niece's gender reveal. I see that note here. However, I'm looking at the contract, and all these services were ordered under the original reservation name, Brooke Pemberton. The services were authorized and fully utilized at the event. The signature authorizing the transfer of the event purpose never included a change to the service package level. But I didn't order these services. Ma'am, someone certainly did, and according to our security footage and the photographer's timestamps, all services were not only delivered, but extensively enjoyed. In fact, I have video of Miss Lawson specifically requesting several of these upgrades on the day of the event. Would you like me to email you the footage? She's quite clearly stating, and I quote, "This is my first baby. We simply must have the champagne fountain. It's what this moment deserves." Judith turned to me, her face contorted with rage. "You did this." I set down my coffee cup with deliberate calm. "Did what, Mom? You're the one who insisted on taking over my reservation. You're the one who called them. You're the one who said Tamara's party was more important than your granddaughter's birthday. I had a simple $1,200 butterfly party planned. You're the one who apparently decided it needed to be a luxury event. You knew this would happen. How could I know Tamara would order champagne and caviar? I wasn't even invited, remember? You specifically said it would be awkward if I was there since I'd been so difficult about the venue change. You're going to pay this!" Judith slammed her hand on the marble countertop, making the sugar bowl jump. "Why would I pay for Tamara's party? I wasn't even invited, remember? You said I was being selfish for wanting to keep my daughter's birthday venue, so you took it. Congratulations, Mom. You got exactly what you took, plus interest." The family exploded like a bomb had gone off. Within an hour, my phone was lighting up with messages. Tamara called crying, saying she had no idea about the upgrades and that she'd never requested anything. Diane sent a long text calling me vindictive and manipulative. Ronald left a voicemail saying I was tearing the family apart with my petty revenge. But here's the thing about security footage. It doesn't lie. Felipe, bless his professional soul, had already emailed me copies of the relevant clips before the invoice even went out. There was Tamara, clear as day, waving her hands excitedly as she talked to the staff. "Oh, we simply must have the champagne fountain. My aunt said to make this perfect." Another clip showed her posing with the butterfly expert saying, "Can you bring out the rare ones, the blue morphos? This needs to be extraordinary." When Judith refused to pay, claiming fraud, the venue's legal department got involved. They sent the bill to collections under Tamara's name as the event host, with Judith listed as the guarantor since she'd made the transfer call. Tamara's perfect credit score, the one Brandon always bragged about, dropped 150 points in 30 days. 3 months later, after legal threats and a near lawsuit, Judith paid the full amount plus $500 in collection fees and another $1,000 in legal costs. $8,700 total for a party that was supposed to be more important than my daughter's birthday. But the real victory came from the most unexpected place. The day after the invoice incident, Felipe called me personally. "Mrs. Pemberton, I heard about what happened with your daughter's original party. It's been weighing on my conscience. We had a cancellation next month, a corporate event that fell through. Would you like the Butterfly Garden Pavilion for Maisie's birthday? No charge. Consider it an apology for our part in this misunderstanding. I nearly cried right there on the phone. Felipe, I can't accept that. It's too generous. Please. I have a granddaughter Maisie's age. I've seen the disappointment in a child's eyes when adults let them down. Let me do this. Maisie's 8th birthday party happened 6 weeks late, but it was perfect. 20 kids releasing butterflies into a sunny April sky. The fairy princess cake from Bellissima, which they'd kept the design for and only charged me for the ingredients. Maisie in her purple sparkly dress, reading her butterfly fact speech she'd practiced so hard. The photos I took on my phone were worth more than any professional package. At the party, one of the other moms, Jennifer, pulled me aside. I heard about what happened with your family. That Invoice story is legendary at school pickup now. $7,000. Did they really pay it? Every penny, I replied, watching Maisie help little Jackson release his butterfly because he was scared it might bite him. Good for you. Sometimes people need expensive lessons. 6 months have passed since then. Judith hasn't spoken to me except for necessary communication about Maisie. Ronald sends weekly texts asking me to apologize and be the bigger person. Tamara had her baby, a boy named Caden, and I wasn't invited to meet him. The family WhatsApp group continues without me. But you know what? Maisie and I are happier than we've been in years. Without the weekly dinners at Judith's, we have Sundays for adventures. We've been to every museum in the city, had picnics in parks, and started a tradition of trying new recipes together every weekend. She doesn't ask about Grandma Judith much anymore. Last week, Maisie brought home a school project about family. She'd written about her birthday party, not the drama, just the party itself. Her teacher had written a note. Maisie's description of releasing butterflies with her friends was beautiful. You're raising a child who finds joy in simple, perfect moments. That $7,200 invoice? I had it framed. It hangs in my home office right next to Maisie's butterfly party photos. Sometimes, when I'm paying bills and feeling stressed about money, I look at it and remember, the interest rate on stolen moments should be exactly what it costs for people to think twice before stealing from you again. My daughter learned that promises should be kept. My family learned that taking advantage has a price. And I learned that sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even. It's getting exactly what you're owed, with interest delivered with perfect timing and a professional smile. The Butterfly Garden still sends us invitations to their special events. Maisie and I go sometimes, just the two of us, and watch the butterflies dance in the sunlight. She always whispers the same thing. Best birthday party ever, Mommy. And that's worth more than $7,000 could ever buy. If you enjoyed this story about standing up for what's right and protecting our children's joy, please hit that like button below. Share this video with anyone who needs a reminder that sometimes the underdog wins, especially when it comes to defending our kids. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more stories about family drama, sweet revenge, and the moments that show us who people really are. Comment below if you've ever had to deal with entitled family members who needed an expensive wake-up call. I'd love to hear your stories too. Thanks for watching, and remember, never let anyone steal your child's happiness without expecting to pay the price.